Hey everybody, Dogface here with a quick video. So 2025 is finally upon us. I hope everyone had a good holiday. I just have these real quick things I want to get out. So 2025, we've had a lot of announcements so far. There's still a lot probably to come. We're getting a weird new Pac-Man game. We're getting a new Witcher game. That's super exciting. We're getting a new Pokemon game. We don't know much about that yet. I'm sure that on Pokemon Day we'll learn more. So, February. But until I know anything about that, I just want to talk about what I think the most exciting announcement for 2025 is. And that is Okami 2. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Okami was a game on the PS2 in the early 2000s by Hideki Kamiya. Kamiya is the guy that brought us the beautiful Joe series on GameCube, as well as Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. Okami had some of the same combat elements of those games, but for the most part was something completely on its own. The art was very reminiscent of old Japanese art. The entire story is based around Japanese myths and legends in a way that I hadn't been exposed to at the time, which was really cool. The character you play is Amaterasu, the Japanese goddess of the sun. And the entire thing is just this big adventure game, and it's just so good, and it's something that a lot of people at the time were really into and really talking about, but we never got anything else out of it. Like, it's weird, the game didn't sell well enough for Capcom and Clover Studios, which was the studio within Capcom that made the game. It didn't sell well enough to justify a sequel at the time, but like, you wouldn't know it by looking at how everyone praised it. Critics, gamers, everyone. I used to watch G4 a lot at the time, and every show was singing the praises of Okami. I think XPlay mentioned it on numerous occasions. Like, Okami was a big deal. So we don't know much about the sequel yet. We do know that Hideki Kamiya is back, and the studio that's working on it is called Clovers, which, seems to be just like an offshoot of Clover Studios, which is no longer a thing, sadly. How many of the original team is involved, I'm not sure. But just from the teaser that we got during the Game Awards, I think it looks amazing. So for anyone who hasn't played Okami, Okami is very much like a classic 3D Zelda game. And I really do mean that in just every way you're thinking about it. It is an adventure game that is based around exploration. You gain different abilities as you go on that help you get to the next, section of the adventure. There are a number of dungeons that are all very full of puzzles. The puzzles being like one of the big focuses. The combat is still fun, but the puzzles are a big part of it. One of the big mechanics that was different in that game versus other, similar Zelda-likes was you had the celestial brush. You could hit a button to kind of pause the screen for a moment and use this celestial brush to draw whatever you needed to help you, whether you could do lines to do wind, or you could make a bridge appear, or you could do a circle to bring the sun out. There were just a number of different abilities that you got as you went on that were new things to draw, bombs, just a single slash for an attack to do like a good finisher on various enemies and bosses, as well as the slash you could cut obstacles out of the way. It was such a fun game, and it was so weird. And it was at a time when gaming was so interesting and so creative. The closest thing we got to ever assuming we'd get a sequel was they did a remaster on the Xbox One and the PS4. It's also on the Switch. And if you haven't played it, I really think you owe it to yourself to try it, because it is such a good game. Like, the people that talk on and on about it, they really, they're not just blowing smoke out of their ass. It is that good of a game. You can get it for very decent prices if you're getting it on an eShop, but they also have physical versions if you want to own physical. So the prospect of a sequel coming, and the fact that Kamiya seems to be on social media giving us updates, throughout this process, it really makes me think that he really wants the fans from the original to enjoy this. And I think that is awesome, and I cannot wait. And it's easily my currently most anticipated game of 2025. I'm so stoked for this game. This is something I've been waiting on for a long time. I tell so many of my friends that they need to try Okami, and I'm hoping that now that a sequel is coming, more of them will be intrigued enough to give it a shot, because it's worth the shot. It deserves a shot. And honestly, it holds up to this day. I've played it multiple times, and it's just such a good game. I don't know if I'm explaining it well. It feels like I'm just kind of rambling, which is just sort of my shtick. So that's fair. But I'm telling you, the action's good, the puzzles are good, the exploration's good. The graphics are so pretty, like this art style that they used. I think because they did this stylistic art choice, it holds up so much better. Originally, they wanted it to be a more like realistic type graphic, which if you played any games that were supposed to be realistic on the PS2, they don't always hold up super well. But I think because they chose this interesting cel-shaded, inspired by old Japanese art, because they took this art direction, it held up so much better. Like, it still just looks amazing all these years later. I know this is a short video, but I needed to get my thoughts on this out there, because I have just been giddy since I saw the trailer. Like, there were so many good trailers at the Game Awards this year. I can't wait for Witcher 4. That is crazy exciting. I am so happy we're finally going to play as Ciri. But the one that just really caught me, like the one that blew every other trailer, every other announcement out of the water, is the fact that we're finally getting an Okami 2. And that is so cool. So again, if you have played it, go back and replay it. You're going to be pleasantly surprised that it holds up as well as it does, or you already know that it holds up and you need to just play it again because it deserves a replay. If you haven't played it, you need to play it. It is so fun. It is so good. It is the Zelda game that isn't a Zelda game. It's kind of like how everyone praises Tunic for being like the 2D Zelda game that we needed. Well, this is that, but for 3D Zelda. So seriously, get out there, try Okami. You will not regret it. I guarantee it. If you like adventure games, if you like, puzzly dungeons, cool stories based off of myths and legends, you will not regret playing this game. But okay, that's about it for this one. Hopefully, I will have more information on Okami 2 soon, and I'm sure I will talk about it again because it's just thrilling to even know that it exists. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave me a comment. I really do love reading through the comments. I usually try to comment back as long as it's a comment that I feel like I have something I can add to. But anyway, thank you for watching this. See you guys next time. Be kind to each other.